All right, I say we don't waste any time. This is serious business, okay? It's Christmas season. People who spend a lot of money on Christmas gifts, they need the bankroll, all right? And we're going to give it to them. Oh, they do. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Plays and Fades YouTube channel. I am your co-host, Gordo Gambles, joined by this beauty of a man here, Kiro, and another day, another location, but more importantly, another killer slate. No UFC this week. NFL what? Week 16 now? We're getting to the end of it. How are we doing, my friend?
We're doing pretty well. I mean, finally our Bills showed us that they can beat bad teams, which they should have been doing all along. And I mean, this weekend's one exciting one for us. That Patriots-Bills game is going to be huge. The winner of it potentially going to be the winner of that division, getting a higher seed into the playoffs. I mean, that's massive. We're excited for that. Hopefully, it's not in an absolute blizzard like we experience here. But yeah, other than that, we're excited. It's another slate. Obviously, it's Christmas. That is an exciting time of year. We are going to be celebrating that with our families and then avoiding them on Boxing Day so that we can watch NFL games.
And World Juniors, you know, you can't get the Canadian out of us. We're gonna watch those Team Canada games. And we'll have to see how it goes. Like you said, our Bills were able to beat a team without a kicker. Good for us. But this is the week where it really matters. I say we don't waste any more time. Like you said, it's Christmas week, but another C that's really important is that C in COVID. And COVID's really taken a wreck over all of the major sports league. And for that reason, this week is just going to be the Plays Sports channel. I'm not going to fade anybody just because so many opportunities can open up as soon as value changes up throughout the market and people have to come in through replacement. You don't know. And for that reason, check us out on Twitter, @PlaysFades, @GamblesGordo. There's going to be a lot going on this week. I have a weird feeling. Aren't like Kelsey and Hill in protocol while I'm recording this? Like, things are wild. But let's not waste any more time. Let's get right into it. Quarterback position, I mean, like we mentioned, that Allen game is going to be absolutely wild. But the core play of the day is going to stay in Matthew Stafford at 6.7K. Tell us a bit more about him.
Yeah, I mean, Matthew Stafford's a guy who's been showing out this year. He's put up a lot of good stat lines. He didn't have that many points last game, but he was putting up some nice throws against that Seattle Seahawks defense. And this week he's going up against Minnesota, who have a very, very poor defense, especially against that pass game. So we expect him to do pretty well. Yeah, I mean, him hitting Cooper Kupp is an absolute slam dunk. Has been all year, so we expect him to do well on this spot. He's $1,000 less than the top of the price range. That's some good value on a guy who we expect to put up a lot of points against this Minnesota team.
Yeah, I completely agree. And then if you look up, I mean, Patrick Mahomes against Pittsburgh, I think is an almost ideal matchup. I love him to really even exceed value, being the most expensive guy on the slate. Justin Herbert against Houston, like we said, always face Houston, always very good. But you look more lower down too. Matt Ryan facing the Detroit Lions, 5.4K. He's going to be the value play of the week. I think that's a great price tag for someone who has the opportunity to put up big yardage against Detroit. Him and Cordero Patterson will be a great stack together, and I'm loving him there. Let's move right along. Running back position. I mean, right now, as we're looking at it, we have a lot of question marks. Eckler's on the COVID-19 list, but if he's off of that, I think that he's absolute steal. He's going to be a core piece of mine against that Houston defense, who, like we said, abysmal. But if you want to look at someone who's going to be a core play of ours as well, regardless of their current status right now, core play of the week is going to be James Robinson. He has an ideal matchup facing the worst ranked defense in the league in the New York Jets. Since Urban Meyer is gone, he's finally able to get back to his old scoring ways of 2020, and he's looking good his last game, put up a good score. I think he does the same thing against the Jets. I also think that, like we mentioned before, Cordero Patterson is going to be a great value option against Detroit. Stacking with Ryan, he got great passing upside. But another core play of ours is going to be Ronald Jones. Tell a bit more about him.
Yeah, I mean, the important part here is that Leonard Fournette is doubtful for this weekend, which means that a lot of the carries in this game are probably going to be given to Jones. So that's some value here. He's down here at $5,100, and if he gets a lot of touches, especially against this Carolina team where Tampa Bay might get up early, have a little bit of a positive game script, which means that if he's the RB1, he could get a lot of those touches.
Somebody else too, if we look at the opposite side of the James Robinson game, Michael Carter, if he has that full workload, snag as well. But like we mentioned, make sure you're checking out for that Eckler news. Check us out on Twitter to see if I'm playing him at all this week. If he's there, he has an ideal matchup. Moving right along to the wide receiver position, I mean, Cooper Kupp up top is something that you just can't go wrong with. He's an absolute stud. But if you want some real value, like we mentioned a lot of good quarterbacks want to pay up for, a good value option this week is going to be Laquan Treadwell. Tell us a bit more about him.
Yeah, as you said, I mean, there's a lot of guys up at the top of the price range who are good, but you got to watch out to see who's playing and who's not playing. But this guy, Laquan Treadwell, we think is great value down there. I mean, his salary is only at $3,500, which is nice and low, and he's going up against that Jets defense, which obviously is not stellar. The past 4 weeks, he's put up 11 points, 10 points, 10 points, 9 points. And although that isn't like the most numbers, for $3,500, I mean, that's still value. And we see that he's consistently been getting a lot of receptions. So if he continues to do that this week, especially against a weaker defense, he definitely has the ability to put up more points than his price tag entails.
Yeah, completely agree. Another couple names you want to mention at the middle price range at wide receiver position, Darnell Mooney. If there's no Robinson, if there's no Goodwin, I mean, he's been putting up numbers and facing that Seattle defense. They're good to put up yards gains, 5.4K. He is that main guy in Chicago. Another person, too, if Beasley doesn't play, Sanders is going to be that slot guy. I don't mind him against New England. He's got a price tag of 4K. He's worth an option, again, if Beasley sits.
I think Beasley is confirmed out this week because he tested positive for COVID and is an unvaccinated player, which means that Sanders definitely a good pickup in the middle.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And then that also gives a lot of opportunities to Stephon Diggs, too, to step up and take cover that role. Same thing with Dawson Knox, so we'll talk about later. Another core player we'll talk about, though, Russell Gage. Like we said, stacking Matt Ryan against that Detroit defense. He's wide receiver number 1. So many options. But we want to pay up for someone, the core play we like. Again, as you can probably tell, wide receiver we're definitely going to pay down for. Antonio Brown. If he's back, Godwin's on the IR. Looks like Mike Evans is questionable as well. If he plays, he is going to be a wide receiver up top there pretty good. And there's lots of value in that Tampa Bay room. But if you want to pay up, get someone really trustworthy, a good price. Like we said, Cooper Kupp, Justin Jefferson. The top guys are also very good this week. Moving along to the tight end position, Kelce up top, if he plays, love him, especially with the stack against Mahomes. I think this Kansas City Chief is on the right path, and playing Pittsburgh, I think they do very well. Same thing with Kyle Pitts. Like we said, we've mentioned Atlanta at every single position. I really think they do well this week. But Mark Andrews up top, facing Cincinnati. I think that he's been an absolute tear, and he's sitting there, 7K, a bit cheaper than Kelce, but if Kelce doesn't play, he will be one of my highest owned tight ends since we're getting so much value at wide receiver. But on the other side of that game, a value play we're liking is CJ Uzma. Tell us a bit more about him.
Yeah, I mean, this Uzma is a guy who has put up a lot of points this year. Last time he played Baltimore, he put up 24 points. So definitely a guy that can put up big numbers, even though he's not as consistent in doing that as obviously those guys up at the top of the slate. But at $3,000, I mean, that is so definitely a guy that we like just because of how low his price tag is, given how many points he does have the ability to put up.
Yeah, for sure. And like I mentioned before, no Beasley, Knox has opportunities to do well. But your favorite position, the defense and special teams. Like I said, we're going to do it. We're going to complete all the way through. Atlanta, another time. We'll talk about them one last time. They're a good defense, especially in the target. But who are you liking this week?
Yeah, I mean, the name of the game this week